Yo, what is going on, you guys? This is your favorite internet radio show, the Sticky Buttons Podcast.
Tarnished. Lowly tarnished. Maidenless. Unfit even to wield a sword. Cross the fogs to the lands between. Guided by the grace of the Elden Ring. The golden light that gives us tarnished life. I sit at the round table, hold. I have an invite to see the two fingers. Ha! Lowly tarnished. Unfit even to be grafted. What say you, Godric? What say you, Godric, as you lay slain at my feet? Lowly tarnished indeed.
Dude, I guess we know what game you've been playing.
I'm deep into Elden Ring, baby.
Deep in the Elden Ring waters again.
The lands between, man. They have sucked me in. I opened one of those chests. I got pulled right through. I got trapped. I've been stuck in the lands between, man. That's what I'm bringing to the show today. Elden Ring, baby.
Elden Ring, man. What a game. I was just watching like a kind of data visualization of all the hottest games. And Elden Ring got almost to the top, almost to first place.
Just in terms of like active players?
Yeah, in terms of active players. They made it to second place, just under first. I had to send the visualization to you, but it's really cool. I think first at the time was either Roblox or Minecraft.
Is that like this past week? Is that like recently or?
The data goes up until last year.
Dang.
And it's from like the first video games to now.
Damn, that's crazy. Hey man, I get it, man. I mean, Elden Ring's crazy. We talked about it a ton when it came out, and I think that you got way more into it than I ever did. But man, dude, I've like completely fallen back into it. And I think this is kind of like, you know, the game's kind of like in the zeitgeist again, because they have a DLC that they just released. It's kind of interesting though, because with like DLC, I've been meaning to bring this to the show, but I guess it kind of works, so I guess I'll just talk about it now. You know, Ghost of Tsushima, they had a DLC, and it was on sale last year, and I picked it up. But it's something that, like, you can play, and then as soon as you're done with it, you, like, continue on with the main quest. Like, there's really no, like, reason that you couldn't just play it at any point in time throughout your journey. But with the Elden Ring DLC specifically, a lot of people are saying, like, don't even bother picking it up until you've beat the game. It's really, like, you're really just starting from scratch all over again. I think like the currency and the weapons from the main game don't really carry over into the DLC, or like maybe they're like some new mechanics. I don't really quite know, but everyone's saying that like, hey, like don't even bother playing that until you like beat Elden Ring. So I think a lot of people are playing Elden Ring again, you know, for the DLC, but also because like there's just this kind of momentum around it. And man, I got pulled into that a little bit. But I just kind of want to talk about my previous playthroughs. I really just never got into it. It's kind of one of those things. And the last time that we talked about this, Brandon, I think it was in regard to our like Starfield discussion. And it's where like when you start an RPG like this, your starting class dictates so much about the game. I picked a samurai to begin with. And for whatever reason, I just like, couldn't get it to work. Like it just didn't really fit with my playstyle. Between like the bow and the shield that they gave you starting off. I actually didn't get another shield drop until like 12, 13 hours in, which was not the case in this playthrough. But it's just crazy that like when you start out, it just like completely changes how you play the game. It can completely change your experience.
It really is, dude. Like, I remember I had a couple playthroughs before I decided on my current build. And it's funny because I'm actually more of like a samurai build now that I'm playing it. Kind of got like a samurai mage build going. But I started off as just a plain mage. Or sorcerer, rather. And I got pretty far with that sorcerer build. But I found myself being like a bit too one-dimensional, especially when fighting harder bosses. So I kind of just, I don't know, I wanted to try something new. And I'm glad I did. And it's funny how like a different playthrough can give you a whole different feel of the game.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I've actually been thinking about this a little bit. There are just so many different like ways to play it. There are like so many different like types of classes. Like you can do, even if you're going for like a pure strength build, right? Like you're going to use weapons. You could use anything from a dagger to a rapier to like a heavy sword to a heavy axe, you know, to a club. Like and all of those play differently and have like different ways that you can like enhance them or kind of min-max them. And there are just so many enemies too. Like there are a lot of enemies that are like weak to one thing, but they're super strong against another. And I think that like in my first playthrough, I was like so one-dimensional on like my katana that I had like no ability to do ranged. And I'll get into it in a little bit, but I went with the astrologer class this time, which basically gives you like a huge shield, a big sword, and you have the ability to use magic right off the bat. And the magic can kind of be your like medium range. So like if you're doing like heavy damage, you can like back off, and if they get you a couple too many times, then you can back off and kind of hit them from a range. But I guess I don't quite remember. So before we get into this, I just kind of wanted to ask you, would you remind me, what's your experience with like these From Software games and like the Souls-like games? Like was Elden Ring the first one that you kind of fell deep into? I guess I don't remember, so I guess...
Yeah, Elden Ring was the first one I kind of fell deep into. I had heard about Bloodborne. That's a FromSoft game before. You know, I'd watched a little bit of gameplay. But, you know, at the time, Elden Ring had just come out. I kind of just followed that hype train and found myself playing one of the best games of the year. I mean, dude, I literally put it on my list of Game of the Year. My personal list.
Yeah, I wonder if I even had it on mine. I'm going to check. That was 2022, I think.
It was an amazing game. And I mean, right now I'm currently trying to, you know, finish Spider-Man so I can clear that off of my hard drive so that I can re-download Elden Ring and play it, like have it ready in my queue of games. The storage has been a real issue for me, man, because I did buy an external hard drive for Elden Ring and I copied it on there. But it's just... it's not efficient. Like it takes a minute for it to re-download. It is a pretty large file, and I have the Elden Ring disc, but it's just like to move my like game back and forth. I'm gonna have to make some adjustments because Elden Ring has to become a priority. I want to play that DLC, man. But the story is just like the story is insane. I was watching a lot of what pushed me to get back on the game like 2 months ago was watching Kai Cenat on stream. He was, I don't know if you got to see it, but he was doing like a crazy Elden Ring marathon. They must have paid him to play this game because he was playing this like night and day, and he would wear like these crazy like outfits. Like he would put on like the armor from like the game to start his streams. His streams are huge. He has like 500,000 viewers in a day. Like it's insane. But yeah, he kind of motivated me to get back on it because he did this run where he was trying to beat the game, and he did beat it. And it was like, honestly, like I was proud of him because he really sucked. He really, really sucked at Elden Ring. Like more than like, it was surprising. So shout outs to Kai Cenat for motivating me to get back on Elden Ring. And now you are too, like, because I'm kind of like teetering off of it, but seeing you get back on it, it'd be fun to like run some Elden Ring with you, dude.
Oh, dude, we got to, man. I want to talk about this a little bit, you know, later. So I want to come back to what you were saying, but I've really realized, like, in this playthrough, like, this is a multiplayer game, man. Like, it's really meant to be played with other people and, like, the community around it. Like, obviously, other people playing it in kind of tandem with you. I kind of always thought they were more of a solo experience, but it's not about that at all. Like, the community around it, for one, you know, is a huge part of it, but also like the multiplayer messages that you see in the world, and also like just experiencing it with other people and other Tarnished along the way, man. It really makes it so much better. And like that's kind of, I also think, kind of a big difference between when I was playing it and when, I guess, back when it came out and now that I'm playing it now. And I guess my like YouTube feed has been completely taken over by Elden Ring. Anything Elden Ring that pops up on my feed, like I just feel like I'm gravitating towards that with like, I don't know, like a vigor, man. I just want Elden Ring in my eyes 24/7, man. If I can't be playing it, I want to be watching it.
Dude, there's a lot of content out there.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to have something like Elden Ring, man. I mean, obviously, like, it's awesome that this is like I don't know. It's just like so much in my life right now. It's so cool. But I've kind of always been on like the outside of this looking in, especially like when I was playing it when this game first came out. Like everybody was loving it. I definitely wasn't having the best time because I'd never really played a From Software game. Just like the learning curve is really steep. But I've always kind of been on like the outside looking in. And at this point, I'm in it, man. I beat, not to get ahead of myself, but I beat Godric the Grafter. So I feel like I'm good, man. I feel like I'm in.
What boss is that?
That's the second boss in Stormveil Castle.
Oh man, that was a pain in the ass. That one was a pain in the ass, man.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that in a minute, but I guess like I've always kind of been on the outside looking in. Obviously, like when you played it, I was a little bit jealous, that how much fun you were having with it. And then I've got a buddy, his name is Robert, and he's always been playing these games in high school and college, and I was always just like so jealous that he was like into these and I just like was not. And it always just felt like I said, like the outside looking in. And I feel like it just hurt even more when Elden Ring came out, that I just like wasn't into it because like I love some of the games that are inspired by FromSoft games and Souls like Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor and Ghost of Tsushima. But man, like everybody's playing this now, and it's brought me back in, and I'm just having a blast. And I really kind of want to touch on a little bit this like multiplayer experience that I had. So my buddy Robert, we were just chatting about it, and he was like, "Yo, dude, you can play 3-player co-op." And I was like, "No, you can't do it. It's like 2-player. It's like supposed." I was like thinking in my head, I'm like, it's meant to be played solo. You can only do it with one other person. But like you can do, I think you may even be able to do up to 4. It's up to 4, right?
I've done it before.
Yeah.
I needed it. I needed the help with the boss. It was worth it.
Yeah, so it's crazy that it's like, I mean, obviously, if you pull in somebody from, multiplayer, like, they're at a big disadvantage. They only have 1 healing cerulean flask. Or they actually, I don't really know how it scales, but basically your cerulean...
I'm pretty sure it just halves.
It halves?
So you have, like, support items like magic flask, potion flask. So when you join in on someone, from what I remember, it was like half. It was pretty much just like under half. So whatever, let's say you have 7, it would be 3.
That's good to know. Because I had 6 and I was getting, but I had it split up in 3 and 3. So half of 3 is 1.5. But I had, for like one encounter, I had like moved my cerulean flasks. I had like, which is your health flask. I had to move that over, and then I saw 2 and 1. So now that I know it's halved, I can game that. I actually just got another flask. I just found another golden seed. So I'm super amped, man.
That's awesome. Golden seeds are always, like, you use those to increase your flasks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Always a blessing when you find those.
Yeah, you can start off the game with an extra golden seed. So you can, like, immediately give yourself another flask if you want to do that. But anyways, so my buddy Robert was like, dude, let's get into it. Let's try it. And he's in the same friend group as Andrew. That's
shout out to Andrew.
Yeah, shout out to Andrew, friend of the show. So we kind of all like jumped into it. I started a new character. Andrew had just started a new character. I think he may have started it back when people were still playing Elden Ring and was like, oh, this is the class, and then kind of just like fell off of it. But me and Andrew were both kind of in the same spot. We were both starting new, and my buddy Robert decided to keep his character. He was like level 50. He liked his build. He liked his class. Just didn't really have the time to put into it. So we were all playing a little bit, and then one night we were all like, all right, let's get on. And Robert was like, oh my God, dude, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I got soft locked and I have to beat this boss. It's like, I just got here. I've tried it twice. But like, it's not letting me fast travel. I have to beat this boss. And we were like, all right, dude, like, good fucking luck. Like, we're going to keep you on the mic. And we were just kind of, exploring Stormveil Castle. Me and Andrew were like level like 20, and we're kind of just thinking around. And he's fighting this late game boss. And it was so funny, man, because we heard him like, it's like, well, I made it to the second phase that time. Or, and you could tell he's just exasperated. We're just having a blast. And, we're giving him some shit on the comms, as you do. It was funny because we were just like, we were killing some knights or something. And he was like, oh my God, guys, I think this is the one. I just got him. He's got like a quarter health. I just healed up. It's like, this is going well. This is the one. This is the one. And then he just kind of like pauses. And we're like, what the fuck just happened? He just starts laughing. He's like, I shit you not. I just got one-shotted.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So it's just like the rise and fall of like the tension. And he ended up beating the boss like 10 minutes later. So he was able to hop on with us. And that was actually really, really awesome that he was able to hop on with us then, because we were both like stuck in Stormville Castle. Like we were both at the same spot. I helped him get to the spot that I knew how to get to in Stormville Castle, which actually, funny enough, the last time we talked about Elden Ring, I don't know if you remember this, but I was having problems in the beginning of Stormville Castle with the knight that I was fighting. Do you remember that?
I do remember. Was it the knight that, like, he's up on, like, the second floor and he's, like, in that room?
He's in a really tight room and you have to kill him to get the key to get up to the next level of the Stormville Castle. Yeah, so...
That was annoying. That got me a couple times.
Yeah, I could not get past that on my own. And you definitely needed to help me out with that. So that's how I was able to get past that on my first playthrough. So then it was just awesome to be able to help Andrew get through that on his playthrough. And then I took him to where I was in Stormville Castle. And then we were both kind of like, we don't know where to go. And then we had our buddy Robert join us. And he's got like a level 50 character. So he was able to kind of to take some damage and help us through. And we made it to the point where you have to fight Godric. And we gave it one encounter. We all gave it our all. We didn't even make it to the halfway point. And that started like a 3-day like grind for me to try and beat this guy. And I just was trying everything I could, like go through like the first phase, like no problem. But then like the second phase was just giving me so much grief. Yeah, so I had to like re-equip different talisman. You know, I found a new spell. And I kind of like leveled up my spirit summons. I kind of did all of these things. And then after I had like kind of collected myself, you know, learned his patterns and then kind of like upgraded my character as much as I could and like upgraded all my stats as much as I could, upgraded my sword. I like did everything I could. And then after all of that and the new spell, of course, I beat him in 2 tries. So I was just like ecstatic. I did that today on my lunch. So... I happened today and I'm still like super hype about it.
Nothing beats a victory on your lunch break.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, man, this has just been such a blast for me, man. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I picked the astrologer class. I think I did mention that, but man, it's been so cool because I have like this hood and I kind of just feel like I only see my character from the back, but I kind of just feel like I'm like a Gandalf character and I've got this like huge shield, this like huge sword, and then I can like switch to magic and like get some spells in. And man, I got this really powerful on my sword. I don't know where I found it, but I've got this like, I think it actually uses faith, which I don't have like a faith build, but this is like a low level faith spell. So it like works out, but it like ties to my sword. So I like if I hit the bumper, I like hit the sword's ability, the sword like glows yellow. And then as I like swing it through the air, it like shoots the sword slash through the air so I can like hit somebody at a distance. And then it's like powered up so that if I hit them in close, it does like extra damage. Because the sword's
man,
gold, dude. It is sick. It's
Is
sick.
that called holy damage or holy magic?
Something like that. Yeah, like faith or something. Oh man. It's just so crazy. I'm having like such a good time with this. But yeah.
I'm glad to hear that, man.
I feel like I definitely had something else that I wanted to say on this. Oh, my character, man. My character's name is Igor. Igor the Veilheart.
Why'd you name him Igor?
I don't
know. He has a hunchback?
He doesn't have a hunchback. I was just like, I don't know. He just looks like an Igor, man. It's honestly, it's kind of a fun thing that we do whenever I start a new RPG. I try to get my girlfriend to kind of like give me some input and to kind of help me create the character. And we kind of made this guy together. We gave him like this like eye patch over his eye, like a tattoo over his eye. Looks really sick. Because I knew he was going to be doing magic, I made him blind. So like if you look at his eyes are all like whited out. It's kind of like, oh man, was it like the Book of Eli? Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
It's kind of like a little bit of inspiration there. So I'm like a Gandalf, like Book of Eli character, man. I'm just having such a fun time, man. Oh, I've got to say, man, I've got to tell you this. So nothing has been better on this playthrough than me just like absolutely slaying all of the enemies in the areas that gave me so much grief in my first playthrough, man. I've just like destroyed.
Yeah, that's a great feeling.
I've completely destroyed everyone that gave me grief, except the tree sentinel, but I haven't even tried that. I bet I could take him on.
Oh, wow. You got some confidence. You got some renewed confidence. This new
I don't
build,
know,
dude.
actually. I feel like he may actually be harder than Godric. I don't know. I feel like I could probably, I don't know. We'll see.
Those are the ones on the horses, right? Those big guys on the horses. I wouldn't mess with those. That's something I like about the game is, like, they'll put enemies that you have no business fighting out in the open, and you can run into them, right? Or they can run into you. But you can also, even if you have no business fighting them, that doesn't mean you can't defeat them.
Yeah.
You can still defeat them. It would just take a lot more effort.
Yeah, 100%. That's something that I've been thinking about, like, as I've been playing this. Like, as I was getting, like, my ass handed to me by Godric, I was literally like, that was on me. Like, I messed that up. I saw that coming and I hit the wrong button. Or, like, I was locked into an animation because I was just spamming buttons and, like, I didn't have time to react to that. It's definitely hard and, like, it can feel kind of frustrating, but, like, it's kind of fair in a way. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I don't know, like, even as I was playing it and, like, I'd make it, like, halfway through that fight, I was just like, man, like, there's just something about this. This is, like, a great boss fight. Like, I never felt like it was, like, the game that got me. It was always me that got me. You know what I mean? Oh, man. But I actually had this one thing happen to me, and I think that you mentioned this the last time we talked about Elden Ring, and I didn't know what you were talking about. I opened a chest somewhere in Limgrave, and it, like, trapped me in this, like, mine. Like, this, like, miner. I don't know what her name is, like, Celeste or something. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember this.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Getting trapped in a chest?
Well, like, I opened the chest, and it was a trap. And I got transported to Caelid. And I had never been to Caelid on my first playthrough.
Oh, that's happened. Yeah, that happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get transported to this area where the enemies are a lot stronger in Caelid. It kind of looks like hell, right?
Yeah. It looks like hell. Like, the sky is washed out in red, and the ground is just, like, painted red, and, like, there's blood and
There's actually some good spells
poison
around there. There's a good meteor spell.
I actually just got that. I needed to get that to beat.
And there's I believe, a staff, too. That's
like a meteorite staff?
Yes.
Yeah, I just got that. Yeah. That's what I got on my lunch, and then after I had that stuff, took me, like, 2 tries to get Godric. That was just what I needed.
It casts really fast, and then that spell is just, like, it staggers, too. So, like...
Yeah, that spell is really interesting. It doesn't do magic damage, it does physical damage. Because you're pulling up rocks and throwing rocks. That's like the rocks hitting does physical damage instead of magic damage. Like, a lot of the bosses are... I'm assuming every boss that I've fought so far has been resistant to magic. So
yeah, a lot of the bosses are. And so with my first build, I had to get really creative and use, like, spells that allowed me to do physical damage. But, yeah, man. It was just too tedious. But I should go back. How easy is it to switch between characters again? I don't remember.
It's easy. If you want to start a new class, it's easy. If you want to, like, see what your other playthroughs are, you just hit load, and you can see which ones you have. It's actually really funny that you say that. So in my last playthrough, I played it, like, over a month before I finally gave up. And I had made it, like, 18 hours. I think I was, like, level 30. I was like, man, if I'm, like, level 30, this isn't getting any easier. I was, like, 18 hours in, I feel like I haven't gained anything. And if anything, I feel like I've gotten worse. I was like, that's why I got to give it up. But in this playthrough, so I guess this is worth noting, this has all happened in 1 week. This is very new, and it's, like, very fresh, because my buddy and I were having this conversation on Sunday. It's Monday today, so this was truly 1 whole week. So as of from Sunday to Sunday, because it was like a holiday week with the 4th of July, I put in 22 hours and was level 39 in 1 week.
Damn.
That's way more video games than I normally play. I normally,
I knew something was off when I was on 2K, like, grinding all week. Because it's just really hot outside. I didn't go outside.
It's hot. It's been hot.
And then Blake is just on Elden Ring. Like, and I'll stay up late. Like, I'll stay up till, like, 3 in the morning. Blake is still on with me. I'll be like, what the heck? Is this Blake?
I normally go to bed at, like, 11 o'clock, and I was staying up. I would, like, play, like, I'd get on at, like, 9. I'm like, all right, I did everything I needed to do for the day. Like, I'm going to play from 9 till 11. And then I just, like, look up, and it was 1 a.m. And
That happens, dude.
my girlfriend was like, Blake, like, do you need to like talk? Are you going through something? It's like, no, it's just the lands between. You don't understand.
You don't understand, Aaron. You don't.
But yeah, it's like just like being a holiday weekend. Like I have not seen 1 a.m. like playing a video game in probably years. So this is like totally like reinvigorated like my love for like RPGs and fantasy, and dude, I'm so into it, man. So I guess that is, I mean, it is obviously like 22 hours in a week is a lot, but I normally, I guess, peek behind the curtain. I feel lucky if I can get like 10 hours in with my normal responsibilities, but I've just been like, not like eat, sleep, work, Elden Ring, man.
I mean, sometimes, dude, you gotta go to the lands between and just get shit done, dude.
Yeah.
Stand on business.
Yeah. I also made it to Liurnia. That's
Liurnia. That's a weird place, right? Like, it's like kind of abandoned, kind of like skinny, tall towers. You gotta like kind of go up top. A lot of mazes, kind of puzzles.
Yeah, I haven't done any of that. I've just kind of stayed on the land. But yeah, no, I'm going to check those structures out.
Maybe I'm mistaking it for something else. I could be mistaken.
I'm kind of learning that like the game really like rewards you for like exploring. And like if you can't do something, like the game will like let you know early that these enemies are way too tough for you. And even if then like you can still like go and get your runes and make a tactical escape. But like there were some like things where I was just like too worried to even try, like whenever I was playing before, like if there was like one of those like stone sword like the stone key, like things where you need to like use a stone key and you get to like go into a catacomb. I don't know what those are called, but like I would just be scared to use the stone key because I'm like, the stone keys are hard to come by. Like what if I like can't do this? You know what I mean? And now I'm just like, hell yeah, dude, I want to see what's behind this veil. Like let me in, man. I don't even care. I'll find a way. I'm just having so much fun, dude. You got to get back on, man. You got to do it. I don't know if you should start a new character, but you got to get on, man.
I know. I got back on my build a few days ago, and
do you know what level you were?
Yeah, I'm level 50.
I'm level 42 now, so I'm catching up, man.
Yeah, you're getting up there, dude. So you're gonna have to help me out with some of my missions. Right now, I'm just like trying to get my bearings back because it's been so long.
Mm-hmm.
The mechanics are out of whack for me. I'm having a hard time with just simple enemies.
Yeah, it takes a minute to like relearn things. I'm actually really glad that I started over because there's this like one mechanic. It's called a guard counter. Do you remember what this is?
That's when you time your shield at the right moment so that you can like.
No, that's a parry.
Okay.
Okay, so I actually wanted my whole build to be about parrying because in like Jedi Fallen Order and Ghost of Tsushima, like I loved hitting that parry and just like messing up the enemies. But in this game, the parry timing is different for every enemy. I gotta give them so much credit because like I cannot believe that like every single enemy has a different parry depending on the weapon. So it's like truly like it's almost impossible to consistently do a parry unless you like a master at the game and really understand like how an enemy is going to move and how they're going to move with a specific weapon. Because I could never get the parrying down, and I always heard like you gotta parry, and I just could never really figure that part out, and that really discouraged me because I wanted to do a parry build my first playthrough. But when I started over in the tutorial, they teach you this thing called a guard counter. And the guard counter has been great. It's been my favorite part of the game so far, honestly. And it's kind of been like the equivalent of a parry in one of these other games. So basically, if an enemy is coming at you with a sword and you hold up your shield, if they hit it, if you have like a good enough shield, it's not going to do any damage. You're going to block it with your shield. You have to have like a big enough shield and it'll take the damage. After they hit you, there's like a small window where you can hit the right bumper, which is your heavy attack. And if you do it, it's kind of like a counter where you take the weight. It kind of looks like if you're holding your arm up to take a hit on your shield, kind of looks like you take that momentum in and then use it to whip your sword around. So it's kind of like a wave kind of thing. And it's like super powerful and you kind of just like, they kind of absorb the hit and then like redirect it. that has been so fun because it also kind of staggers them back a little bit. So it's kind of like the same effect of a parry, but like way easier to do. And I just got a talisman that lets me do that. I think it's better and it gives me a longer time to do it. So man, it's just like, that is just like, that's my shit. And like, I didn't even know that that was in the game, but it's like in the tutorial. So if you start over, you know, start from basics, you might have a better time. And I think that's definitely part of why I'm having so much of a good time. Because I started over and I kind of like already knew some things, but just like, I feel like I have learned so much more on this playthrough. It's been like exponential.
You kind of like build yourself back up from the bottom, regain those foundations.
Yeah. You could even start a new character and then just like after a couple hours, just like go back to your main guy. Like that would probably be enough just to like do the opening again. That would probably be enough to get you back into like the right headspace.
Yeah, I want to check out a new build anyway. Just like, it's fun like when you don't play a game for a long time to just try something completely different, because if you try to go back into it with like the old kind of like, oh, I expect this, and you don't get that, I find that I'm kind of thrown off by the game.
Yeah, totally. So. That makes a lot of sense. What do you think you're going to do? If you started over, what do you think you're going to do?
Oh man, I've tried a sorcerer, I've tried a samurai build, so now I'm going to do some research. I think I'm going to look into...
You should try the sword and board, man. That's what I'm doing.
Sword and board? That sounds like a good idea. I'm going to go on the Reddit threads and just see kind of like different play styles and what really resonates with me.
Yeah, you should do that, because that's kind of what led me to the astrologer, because they do sword and board and then they can do magic, and that just clicked for me. It's like once I found that, like that's how I want to play this game. Like that worked for me.
The magic is so useful in this game. Like every build I've had so far uses magic because it's just a great range attack. Even if you're up close and personal, it'll still help you out. Like it's amazing all around.
Yeah, it also just looks sick as hell. Like the spells just look so freaking cool, man. They're awesome.
You can just cast away, especially if you get fast casting time. It looks crazy.
Yeah. So we got to get you back on it. I'm going to give a shout out to Kyle too. I bet he's listening. Kyle, you got to get back on this too, man. Everybody's got to get back on Elden Ring, man.
Get back on, Kyle. Everybody's got to get back on. Yeah, we got to run the crew. We got to be able to run 4 at any given moment.
Yeah, we got to.
I mean, how else are we going to beat this game? Because I know damn well I'm not beating this thing alone.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's a multiplayer game, man. If we're all in it together, like it really is the tarnish you meet along the way in the lands between. Which actually, speaking of that, we have a Discord. So I'm going to try and make a channel in the Discord, for Elden Ring right now. If we can make like a current games or something. Here, let me see. I think I have something where it's like games of forever, like games that we always play. Here, yeah, I have some forever games. I may just add Elden Ring. Because right now our forever games are Minecraft, NBA 2K, Pokemon, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and Skyrim. I may just add Elden Ring into that. And we should all meet up there and chat about some Elden Ring, man.
Start an Elden Ring channel. I think you already have one.
I don't have an Elden Ring one, but I'll definitely make one.
Yeah, dude. Make one. That'll push everybody to just like talk about their playthrough. I'll talk about my new playthrough. It's settled. I'm going to do a new playthrough.
All right, man. Hell yeah, dude.
Try it out from a different angle because this samurai is awesome. And yeah, I invested a lot of time, but I can always go back.
Yeah, you can always go back to it.
I can always go back to my sorcerer. I remember that I was on a mountain, like a really big ice mountain, fighting a frost giant. And, man, my magic was just not doing anything. He's a frost giant. I think he's like repellent to magic attacks. At least my long range ones, so I had to use physical ones. And I'm a sorcerer. That's not my forte. So I was really struggling there.
But I got you, man. Build. I've got a 6 sword, dude.
I missed that build. I'll check that out, man. Right now, as we speak, I'm moving Mortal Kombat onto my extended storage so that I can re-download Elden Ring.
Oh yeah, man. You got to do it. Got to get everyone on it. And our Discord, it's free to join. Anyone and everyone is welcome there. The link to it's going to be in the show notes. So join our Discord. I was sharing some new things about, I guess there were a lot of news this summer about new games that are coming out, and I shared my thoughts on some of those. I think Carter's been in there sharing his YouTube videos that he's been putting out.
Yeah, his Patreon.
Yeah.
Carter has a really sick Patreon.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying his content.
Yeah, he's funny, man. I'm actually really excited. I'm going to his bachelor party here pretty soon, so.
Oh, that's sick.
That's gonna be
Congrats.
fun,
Congrats to
man.
him.
Yeah, congrats, Carter. But yeah, dude, just join the Discord. I will make an Elden Ring channel before this is posted, so we can all hop in there, post our builds, post our, what is it like? Oh, man. Elden Bling. People are saying like Elden Bling. Like, make sure you have the, I think people call it like style like or soul style or something like that.
Your soul
People
style.
have got some soul style, yeah.
Elden Drip.
So you gotta, yeah, Elden Drip. Yeah, I'm gonna put my character in there. I got a really sick shield and like a matching sword.
So you're gonna flex on us, man. All right, I gotta pull out a crazy fit then.
Might just have to. Man.
My sorcerer had some crazy outfits. I don't know what I'm gonna go with, man. There's
you gotta do
so
some
many
research.
different
Follow
options.
your heart. You know.
There's so many.
Have you considered
options.
the Wretch?
What is the Wretch again? Oh, that's the
so
one.
The Wretch. You start out naked. You just start out in your underwear with a club.
Why would I want to do that?
Well, here's the thing. You're super under leveled, right? So anything that you kill, you're gonna be able to like turn your runes to level them up like so quickly. It would be the most adaptable. So if you wanted to have like the most customization, like you'd be able to do that from go. Like you'd be able to say, all right, I want to do, strength, dex, and intelligence. You can just scale those like right at the beginning. You could like pretty much put all of your stats in those at the beginning. And you could have like a pretty low vigor, pretty low endurance, or whatever. Like, let's just say you wanted like 1 faith or 1 arcane. Like, you could take all your points out of there and put that in other things. So it's the most adaptable, but like you start out naked with a club. So
essentially, if I wanted to make like a really unconventional build, I could, the Wretch would be the way to go, because from there you can kind of.
Yeah. Or it could be conventional, but you have a much earlier say in how the stats are allocated.
Got you.
Because you start at level 5 instead of...
You start with nothing.
Yeah.
It's worth it, Why not? I've already tried it.
Think about it. Things. If you haven't tried the sword and board, though, you should do that, because I'm telling you, the guard counter, that is so much fun. Because, like, basically all they have to do, they just have to hit your shield, and then you do your heavy attack on them. I think it's great. I'm having a great time with that.
I can't believe you're already level 42, man.
Yeah. I was 39, and then I may be 43. No, I'm 42, because I was level 39 when I was fighting Godric, and then I got 2 levels after I beat him. I got enough runes to get 2 levels up, so that would be 41. And then I explored some more of Stormvale Castle, and I was like pretty close, and then I just used like some of the runes I had in my inventory and got it up. But yeah, I just talked to somebody and they told me to go to the round table hold. So I guess after you defeat Godric, you get like something from the round table hold. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember what you get. Yeah, you do get some type of reward.
Yeah.
Damn, man. I got the itch for Elden Ring again.
Gotta do it, man. You gotta get back on it.
Are you gonna get on it later?
As soon as we're done recording, I'm gonna play Elden Ring. I can tell you right now. We were planning on recording like at like 7, and I just like was just playing, and I was like, oh shit, my phone's blowing up. And it was like 7:30, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Blake was in the zone, man. I got in a 2K match. It's a perfect segue onto my game, what I've been playing.
Yeah.
I'm playing a lot of 2K, man. I've been grinding this new Season 8. It's a lot of new rewards. There's this really cool kind of suit you could wear. It's like an orange man suit. And it's just like a kind of like a skin tight orange suit. It's all orange. And it looks really, really cool. You're just hooping in that. I've seen one person play with it. But you gotta reach level 39. And it's a pain to level up in this game. Especially if you're not playing with friends. It's very much a multiplayer game. If you play with friends, it's basketball. You can play with a little more strategy. You already have some chemistry. Whereas, if you're playing with random people, you never know their skill level. Some people are just really, really stingy with the ball. They just want to score everything. They don't like passing. That's really frustrating at times. Sometimes I really question why I play 2K so much. But then I remember, it's something I started playing from like 2K12. And I've kind of just been playing
that's 12 years,
since.
man.
Yeah, man, it's a long time. Same thing with Call of Duty. Like Call of Duty even before 2K. was playing Call of Duty like for a long time. That's another game I've been playing a lot of recently too. Is Call of Duty, and just getting back into it, man. Like I pre-ordered the Black Ops 6.
Damn, you pre-ordered it, man.
Yeah, pre-ordered it.
On our break, we're not buying games. I guess you won't get it for a while. It doesn't count.
Pre-ordered it, pre-installed it. Like I'm stoked, man. 'Cause I remember playing Black Ops, the first one, and that story mode just sucking me into that whole world. It's pretty much about like the CIA and their covert operations. And mind you, I'm probably like 11 years old playing this, and it's just blowing my mind that like the world runs like this. Yeah, just then Black Ops 2 was like, I got into like the competitive scene, played a lot of that, like just a ridiculous amount. It was to the point where it was like unhealthy. And I still have a lot of the instincts, dude. Like I haven't played in such a long time, and I'm like still winning gunfights that I'm like scratching my head. Like, how did I come out of that alive? Like it's like 3 people and me, and I somehow won that interaction.
It's the muscle memory, man.
It really is, man. It's kind of scary at times. Like, just like the neural pathway is so deeply embedded in my brain that I can still like draw from it when I'm playing Call of Duty and get like some really good scores at times. It's surprising. The Modern Warfare 3 is really, really fun. Like, I honestly am upset that I haven't been playing it as much. I'm only level like 35, which is not an issue. I don't really play for levels anymore. I more so play for challenges. I try to like every single gun, just try to master it. Just try to like understand different playstyles, which is like, I can tell I've matured too, because in the past, when I played Call of Duty, I would just have one class. Like I would just run that one class and that's it. But now I'm like just trying out different approaches. Even if I know I'd never play with that weapon again, I just want to test it out and see what it's like. Complete some challenges. So yeah, it's interesting seeing how you kind of like mature with the game.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, we've talked about this a lot, but like Call of Duty, man, I feel like I only really play the zombies these days. And like I'm still playing like the last Call of Duty Black Ops. I'm still playing that zombies. Like I'll still play it. Like sometimes I'll just play it by myself. Sometimes I'll still play it with some friends from college. Man, it's crazy because like I have like a melee class. I've got a dual wield pistol class. I've got like an assault rifle class, SMG class, sniper class. I've actually got a couple sniper classes. I've been really liking the snipers, just for the challenge of it. Like just trying to get as many headshots as I can before I like have to switch to like another weapon.
Yeah, sniper is deadly, man, because it's just all it takes is for you to aim up and get your shot, and that's it. It's over for me. Yeah,
man, I really liked doing snipers in the first Call of Duty Modern Warfare, like the reboot, like 2019. Man, I loved that one. I really feel like I feel like it just hasn't been the same since that for me. Like I feel like like it was like COVID, so I had more time to put into it, but I just feel like nothing has felt as good since that Call of Duty. So I'm hoping that this new one feels good. I mean, I'm still gonna hold out, and I probably won't get it to see what people say about the zombies, but I think I'm probably just gonna wait for that. But
I've been keeping up with the lore, the zombies lore. Like they've been leaking stuff, and they're gonna continue the story. The zombie story is canon, so they're gonna keep
like from the last one.
Yeah, they're gonna continue with same characters.
I like that. That was good.
Same thing with the campaign. The campaign is gonna keep the canon, which the campaign is also really, really interesting. I don't really want to go down that hole in the pod right now, but it gets really, really interesting.
Man, I'm sorry. You just said this, and I'm just like, my brain is like, man, I want them to remake a Kino map. But like, you know how like in the last Zombies, they took like the original Zombies map, and they kind of like, you have that map that's inside this now like bigger map. I want them to do that with Kino. Man, if they did that, I would never stop playing that.
We're definitely going to see, from the leaks that I've seen, we're going to see a lot of blasts from the past. I've already seen a lot of multiplayer maps in Black Ops 6 that feature a lot of the old things that we love, right? So a lot of the 3-lane maps, kind of a lot of tight maps, and a few large maps seems to be like what people like. This is coming from like an interview I watched with one of the developers, and she was talking about like kind of how what they were going for with Black Ops 6, and she mentioned they were going for the tried and true, what they knew worked, because I guess Call of Duty franchise is catching on that, Warzone isn't the creme de la creme that they thought it was. Warzone is a really fun game mode, but they need to stay tried and true to the Call of Duty that we know and love.
It's just such a tricky franchise, man. I mean, it's just been so slow to evolve. And I mean, I kind of, the last time we talked about Call of Duty, I had like just a bad taste in my mouth. I think I said, like, I just feel like the franchise is like creatively bankrupt. Like, it's tough because I feel like, like as a gamer, I feel like I have matured a little bit, and I don't necessarily, like, the appeal of Call of Duty is not what it once was to me, just on its face, like at face value, like a realistic first person, multiplayer with guns is really just not what I'm drawn to anymore. So it has to be doing something new and interesting. I mean, obviously I have that nostalgia there, but I feel like that's just not enough anymore, especially after these last ones where it's just kind of like, I really liked the zombies and I really liked one of the multiplayers, but I just like, I don't know. It feels like it's either one or the other. And I feel like I would love for there to be like a holistic COD that could kind of just like bring everybody back in, like old school people, that were playing like before we were even playing. I'd love to see them back in the fold. I'd love to see something, that would get me excited. And I'd love to see like, it pull people away from Fortnite. I'd love for there to be that community around it again. But I just feel like its time has passed, man. I feel like it should have innovated so long ago and it just didn't.
Yeah, they stuck to, I mean, at least the Treyarch and Black Ops, they kind of stuck to what they knew this whole time. There was a Black Ops 3 that was modern. It was set in 2066, something like that, which was pretty cool. I prefer the Black Ops over the Modern Warfare, although this last Modern Warfare is really surprising me. It's just how smooth it runs. It feels really crisp.
I don't know if I have a preference. I like them both, man. Now that I'm thinking about it, I may think that I like the Modern Warfare, like multiplayer, better. But obviously, like, zombies has always historically been Black Ops.
Yeah, Call of Duty holistically, I've played more of Black Ops. I got the campaign I always play because I just got like sucked into that whole thing with like MK Ultra and Woods, and just like finding out more about that story. I always want to know more. That's always really cool. Zombies, you know how much I love zombies. And then multiplayer is like always, recently it's been really like teetering. Because like you were saying, like the appeal of just like getting online and multiplayer using guns is like, just doesn't have the same appeal. Like even now I can only do like 3-4 matches before I'm like kind of just like, alright, I'm overstimulated. The zombies in Modern Warfare 3, I don't really like it. It's they took a Warzone approach to zombies, which I don't really appreciate. I'll give it some more
it's cool they tried something new, but I mean, I knew immediately, I was like, I'm not going to be into this. So I didn't get it.
Yeah, I'm going to give it some more chances, but so far it's not my cup of tea. But yeah, I like the skins a lot and the multiplayer. You can see people running around Homelander, A-Train. Those are both two characters from The Boys. Some really cool skins, and it's not just like always, somebody just bleeding out from bullets. Sometimes like people have like guns that can pixelize you, or they'll like,
that's cool.
Like they have like, cool animations.
I feel like Call of Duty always succeeds more when it tries to do something like kind of cartoonish with like the ray gun.
It's an important aspect to the game, and I appreciate you bringing it up, because it's like, just, looking at it from face value, if you play Call of Duty for 5 hours a day, 3 days a week, like, you're just like building in those, like, it's just not healthy to do that.
It's not healthy, right? And I feel like it works because like kind of the contrast between like the realistic like sim of like shooting the gun, but then also like the arcadiness and like the craziness of like shooting a ray gun. You know what I mean? And like like mixing the fantasy elements in that, like really, I think that's where the game really thrives, and it kind of makes it seem like it's not just like an army ad,
Treyarch does a little better job of that than Modern Warfare. I definitely will say Infinity Ward and Activision, they definitely take a more realistic approach to the Call of Duty franchise. Whereas Treyarch, even in the zombies mode, they have settings where you can turn off the gore, right? And like when you kill a zombie, you're not going to see blood. You know, like they do seem to pay a little more attention to that, which I appreciate. It's important, you know, it's something you want the people who develop these games to be conscious of, because it's like there are bad people out there that, you know, they'll get on this game and think it's okay to do that. And it's really not. Like, war is not okay. That's just terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a video game, right? And you want it to feel like a video game. And you can have those elements. You know, we're adults. Like, if we want to play something that's more violent, like, we're allowed to, you know. But if it gets to the point where that's, like, affecting you just because, like, you're always in that, like, you should probably branch out and try a new game. Like, there are other games out there.
Yeah, exactly. There's other games out there. There's tons of genres. And it is a video game, right? It's like, at the end of the day, it's a simulation. It's not real.
I'm very interested, you know, this is the first time that a Call of Duty is going to be published under Microsoft. Microsoft owns Call of Duty now, and by Microsoft, I mean Microsoft's Xbox now owns Call of Duty, and I'm really kind of excited to see how they take that and where they go from there, right? Because, you know, I think Xbox kind of being the underdog in terms of, you know, console sales, and just because they're kind of the underdog, they're more willing to put their games on other platforms. They're more willing to take chances. And I'm kind of just thinking that, like, a Call of Duty under Microsoft, that might be the best version of Call of Duty. And, you know, really quick on accessibility, you know, it's funny that we've kind of been saying this about, like, how we want more from Call of Duty. But, like, when I was first growing up and first playing these games, Call of Duty was the biggest game out there. And because of that, they wanted to bring as many people in as possible. And they were one of the first games that had colorblind mode. And, like, I'm colorblind, and I always kind of struggled, you know, like, especially, like, in the age of, like, muddy graphics and, like, everything kind of looking like Fallout. Not in a bad way, but I just had such a hard time if everything's the same gray color palette, like, you know, finding the fantastical and getting lost in a game. But Call of Duty, like, they were one of the first games that had, you know, the colorblind mode. And that would always, like, I'd be like, well, this game's for me because they care about, you know, my colorblind mode. You know, and, like, I can now see, you know, more than and, like, it actually looks like this is, like, the best game for me to play because I can actually see things. And you know, like, it is competitive, but, like, it's not putting me at a disadvantage because, you know, I can't see a certain color of blue, you know. And I'd like to see more of that kind of thinking, you know, from Call of Duty that's under Microsoft.
Yeah, and Microsoft is known for, you know, investing in accessibility. You know, we've seen it in the past. So I think if there's anyone that's going to do it and can do it well, it is Microsoft. And yeah, you know, with the advent of VR, it can get really, really interesting.
When you talk about VR, you want to play Call of Duty in VR, Brandon?
No, I don't want to.
Are you just saying hypothetical?
That sounds like a lot, honestly, but it would be cool. You know, I'd try it.
You could play some Minecraft.
I'd try it. Minecraft in VR, I've heard, is really cool. Skyrim. What else would I want to play in VR?
I think I'd want to do No Man's Sky. I think that shit would be sick in VR.
I saw a really cool video of a Metaverse game, I think. And it was like you were a club bouncer. And this guy was having a lot of fun.
No way?
As a club bouncer. Because he was, like, slapping people with the stick. Like, he was, like, just smacking people away. Like,
oh my God.
It was, like, the funny. He was just having so much fun. And his laugh was just hysterical. And it was such a silly game. Like, it was such a silly game. And he wasn't letting people in for this, like, the dumbest things. And then he'll let people in that had weapons. Like, he was just, like, it was so funny. And that game looked really, really interesting. Because it's such a simple concept, but it looks fun. You gotta get there, man. I'm gonna get there eventually. I'm in no rush to get into the VR space, though. Because I know the technology is still very, like... It's like the first iPhones right now. But it's slowly but surely getting better. And more
actually, you know,
affordable.
that's funny. The first iPhone is it's probably a very apt comparison because they've released the Apple Vision Pro. It's like their first gen model of
A VR.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to think about it.
It's smart for Apple to do that because they, if you think about their whole business model, they don't want to sell us technology. They want to sell us a platform, a lifestyle. It's kind of like Steve Jobs' whole brainchild, right? And they've gotten in trouble for it, and they've taken advantage.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
We've definitely talked about it. But I digress to say that...
Actually, we talked about this recently because we talked about emulation on the iPhone. It was a right to repair law that got passed in the UK, and they had to let... It was tied to anti-steering, and they couldn't let and by they, I mean, was it like the European Commission, or... It's basically like the Trade Commission authorities in the UK. They basically made it so that Apple can't have anti-steering practices in their app store. Which just, like, if you're going to buy a Spotify subscription, or if you were going to buy it in the app, they could steer you to their website. And steering a user to the website would negate, like, Apple's 30% fee. And if they could successfully do that, they wouldn't have to pay Apple 30%. But sorry, I totally cut you off there.
No, that's a good point. And thanks to the European Union, they also pressed them on their chargers using...
there's USB-C now, the new one,
which is great.
Awesome.
Which is, I can charge my laptop, my phone, a bunch of other devices. A lot of things run on USB-C. I really do think that's something that should be universal, like everywhere in the world, or like as best as we can.
It pretty much is.
Because I want to be able to travel anywhere and just know that I can charge, or so. Yeah, man.
Universal ports, man, they're important.
But back to Apple Vision Pro, like this is a very early version of it, and like, man, where can Apple go with that? I can see them going so far with this VR world.
It's funny. I'm actually more interested in what Meta's doing than what Apple's doing.
Yeah, Meta's really on the forefront of it right now, I would say.
Oh, I guess Facebook/Meta. I feel like I almost slipped there. I feel like I'm not gonna let them off the hook. It's Facebook/Meta.
They were Facebook. They
Facebook.
took our data and they sold it. But that's what a lot of companies do to us.
Just because they changed the name, we're not letting them off the hook.
Man, they still have my data. It's because I use Instagram, and it's like I gotta fill out that form to like have them opt me out. I'm good off of Facebook. That's in another decade. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like equivalent to AIM. Did you ever use AIM Messenger?
I don't know if I did. I definitely knew of it, but I don't think I ever used it. I used like the Yahoo one.
I used Kik. There is also Kik, K-I-K. There was a Yahoo. I used Yahoo as well.
I think I really used the Facebook one a lot, though.
Did you ever use a MySpace? Did you ever have a MySpace?
I think I had a MySpace, but I never really... I didn't have a computer, so I feel like MySpace was the one where I was like, I want to do MySpace like by myself. Like I wouldn't want somebody looking over my shoulder. I had to do Facebook at the kitchen table. I don't know about you. My parents, they'd make me do Facebook at the kitchen table.
That's adorable.
I remember, oh my God, dude. I got to tell this story, man. I remember I posted on Facebook, like some rap lyrics that had like curse words in them. My parents, they flipped out. They were not okay with that. I think
was it a Big Sean song?
It may have been. I don't know what it was, but I definitely had. It was like more than one, but I had like lyrics that I thought were funny, and then like one of them was like the apple bottom jeans. Like that was one of them. So like it was pretty tame, all things considered. Man, they grounded my ass.
Oh man. No, yeah, I remember social media.
Had to do Facebook at the kitchen table from then on.
Because we were kids, like we really like didn't understand like the consequences or like the full grasp of it. I remember I had Twitter at like 8 when it first came out. Like I still have that account, and it'll show you like since 2009 I've been an active user. But yeah, I remember just tweaking on Twitter. Like I used to tweet the most random shit, like it just farted. Like, just stupid shit. Like, literally any, like...
That's what it was for, man.
What you thought an 8-year-old would be tweeting, I was tweeting. And it was like, I saved those tweets, but then I deleted them after a while. It's just too embarrassing. It's too embarrassing.
It's funny because I feel like our generation, we've been so online, man. But I feel like all of us have been, so it's kind of like anything is really... It's like... It kind of washes out in the wash or whatever, you know?
Yeah, because it's like a shared experience in a way. We've all kind of been
Yeah.
The internet has made its way into our lives just as much as
Yeah.
we've sought out the internet.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of the dead internet theory?
No, what is that?
Oh my gosh! Here, actually,
That
I'm
sounds-
gonna read the
It
quote.
sounds
I
like
heard about it
you're
recently.
gonna send me down a hole right now, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna send you down a hole. I'm sorry. We could have ended the episode, but here we are. Sorry about that. Dead internet theory. Okay, here we go. This is from Wikipedia. It says it's a conspiracy theory. I'll just read this and then we can get into it. It says the dead internet theory is an online conspiracy theory that asserts that the internet now mostly consists of bot activity and automatically generated content, which is manipulated by the algorithm curation. And it minimizes organic human activity to manipulate the population. Oh, geez. Well, that part I don't necessarily agree with. I think it's actually...
I mean, doesn't sound like out of all the conspiracies out there, it's not the most far-fetched.
No, I think the actual, conspiracy theory is like, oh, like this is like, in a way to control humanity, and like it's the Illuminati's behind it. But I was just kind of thinking like, it's interesting just like with how many, fake bots are out there. Like I recently, like a year ago, or whenever Elon bought Twitter, I switched over to Threads and I made like a new Instagram to like tie to my Threads. And I feel like that's been really interesting starting that new thing because like I see like I'll get likes and it'll be from a bot. Like it won't be from a person. But then like I'll get like interactions from like a person, but it's like crazy because like if I hadn't have made a new one, like I wondered like what would happen with like my Threads. Like I bet like it would have like more people would have seen it because I started out like totally fresh. I had like no followers. I really don't have that many, but like nobody really sees my stuff. I just think it's interesting about like the concept behind it, like how much of, the interactions on the internet are actually by people and how much are like by bots. And I feel like I've actually like, on the Discord, like our own Discord and like other Discords that I've joined, I feel like I'm getting a lot more like positive interactions. And I almost feel like with everything congealing on like these social medias, it's actually like pushed people off of it. And like now people are more siloed than they were before.
Yeah, I definitely see the echo chambers all across the internet now, which makes it even easier for us to be manipulated or controlled, for lack of a better word. It's just marketing, that's what I chalk it up to.
Yeah.
Corporations spend billions on
yeah,
marketing.
no, totally.
shots.
I guess I was just more thinking like the human interaction part of it. But yeah, no, totally. I have seen that with, especially like, I mean, I was on Twitter pretty much the whole time until I guess Elon kind of bought it.
The internet does feel inorganic nowadays. Kind of going back to the dead internet theory, like social media, it's hard to like interact with people on kind of just a platonic level, in a sense of like, hey, like this is a really cool piece of art you uploaded, or I really like this song. And it's more so just become like very business, very transactional kind of thing. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm a public figure.
100%.
I'm a motivational speaker, XYZ. And it's like,
Join my OnlyFans.
exactly. I remember when social media was more so of a way of like, oh, my friends from school are doing this today. Like, let me see if I can play Pop Tropico with them, or, just touch base with them. It's just a way for humans to connect and enhance that like real life connection, in a sense. That's what it was for me initially.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, totally.
now I've become, even now with my habits on the internet, it's like very like siloed. Like even it's very lonesome. Like things I do are all by myself for the most part. Very individualized. And I think that's partially the society we live in. Very individualistic society, very capitalist society. Kind of promotes that
I
behavior.
can see that. Well, if you don't want that and you want a positive place on the internet, you can join our Discord.
Definitely join the Discord. We got some awesome people in there. You can have some genuine interactions with us. We just talk about the games you love, and we talk about manga, anime, videos we watched, videos we've uploaded. Just tune in, support.
Yeah, I just read this really awesome graphic novel, and I'm going to talk about it in the Discord, so join there and I'll share that there. But yeah, dude, I'm ready to end this up, man. We also have a Patreon. You can support us on Patreon if you want want to do that, you could follow us on TikTok, Instagram. I'm on Threads and Instagram. Brandon's everywhere.
I'm on Instagram, Brand the Boulder. So follow me, support the Patreon, and just share an
Join the
episode.
Discord.
Join the Discord and share an episode with a friend. You know, send it to somebody you think might like our content.
Yeah. You know, I think both Brandon and myself, after we took that break, I feel like we've really come back to the pod with a lot of energy. So I feel like both, I guess I can only speak for myself, but these last 3 episodes that we've done, I think have been really good. So, you know, like the one where we just came back, you know, obviously this one and our Helldivers one as well. So yeah, maybe share those with a friend. It would mean the world to us. But thank you for listening, and thanks for tuning in.
Peace in the streets. You can find
Lonely
us
tarnished.
in Elden Ring. The lands
Cross the
between.
fog to the lands between, in search of the Elden Ring. Guided by the golden grace, the lands between.